Hello everyone, my name is Julia and I'm going to be guiding you through an at-home yin yoga flow that you can do with a couch. So what you will need for this practice is obviously a couch, and then I would also grab some just pillows and blankets to have nearby. And we will go ahead and get started just right up against the couch with our back against our couch. And you can either start seated here, or if you'd like more of a heart opener, you can actually grab a pillow, or you can roll up a blanket or something, put it right behind where your head is, and then maybe you scoot your hips forward a little bit, and then just kind of let the head rest down against that pillow, and it automatically allows the heart to open up a little more. And you can let the shoulders fall backing down. The legs can be crossed, you can have them straight out in front of you, you can bring the soles of the feet together, you can even have the knees bent and the soles of the feet planted. Just starting in any comfortable position. Bringing your awareness to your breath. And just settling in exactly where you are, finding some peace and calm maybe for the first time today. And releasing everything that is beyond this present moment. While you're settling in, I'll explain a little bit about what yin yoga is in case you're new to this type of yoga. Or maybe if you have practiced it and weren't really sure what it was. Basically, yin is the opposite of yang, and I traditionally teach a lot of vinyasa classes and power flow classes, which could be considered more yang classes because they're more intense, they build up heat. We move rather quickly through the poses and we do them over and over again. And so yin is sort of the exact opposite of that. In yin, we hold poses for long periods of time. The body grows cold. And it's so that we can deepen into the connective tissue and actually stretch and lengthen that connective tissue. And in order to do that, we have to hold poses for long durations. So we're starting here, and just breathing into this space. Give yourself the permission to let go. Know that anything you have to do beyond this moment, it'll still be there. You can come back to it when we're done. And when you get back to it, you'll come back with a clearer mind, feeling a bit lighter. When we do yin yoga, we're not only moving deeper into the body in terms of the tissue, the connective tissue, but we're also moving deeper into the mind by finding stillness. When we find stillness, we can move deeper into the layers of consciousness, not just the layers of muscle and tissue. And so during this practice, you might feel some discomfort with being sort of alone in your thoughts, just having to sit with whatever thoughts come up in your mind. And that's normal. It'll be a little uncomfortable in that way, but know that we're practicing. This is all just a practice. Okay, it won't be perfect. It'll be uncomfortable. But you might learn something about yourself. So just pay attention to whatever comes up in the mind and where your mind automatically wants to go, if it wants to fight. Or if maybe you can acknowledge those feelings and just let them be. And so continue to breathe here wherever you're at, finding that stillness and focusing on that stillness. ahead and begin to awaken the body simply by maybe wiggling the fingers. You can blink the eyes open, maybe you scooch up a little taller. Maybe you kind of windshield wiper the legs side to side if that feels good. Really just invite gentle movement back into the body here. And then when you're ready, the first pose that we're gonna take, other than that meditation we just did, is Sphinx pose or seal. So to get into this pose using our couch today, come onto your belly. You'll notice that I don't have a mat. I'm not using a mat today. I don't think it's necessary because we're just gonna be, kind of all over the place. So I am gonna put my shins up against this couch, and that's just to create a deeper back bend. If that's too intense for you, then you can just not use the couch at all here if you don't want to, and that's fine. But I am going to bring this pillow. Actually, first let's set up. So for Sphinx pose, your arms are in front of you, about shoulders width apart. The forearms are planted, the fingers are spread wide. We have a slight back bend here. We're lifting up through the chest, and we're relaxing into the glutes. We can just reach forward through the crown of the head or just keep the head neutral with the spine and let the shoulders roll back and down. And so keep in mind that we're going to be holding this pose for a little bit of time, so take the time to settle in and get as comfortable as you can in this pose. You don't want to settle into something that is, painful. So you might decide to use a pillow here. You can actually put that under the chest and sort of between the forearms, and then that way you don't have to work as much. The pillow will hold up the weight of your chest a little more, and then you can get deeper into that back bend without having to struggle through it. And so you might decide to take this version or stack up any other pillows anyway. If you want a deeper back bend, you might decide to use even 2 pillows and then straighten the arms for seal pose. So that would look like, I should also mention, try not to move around so much when you get into this pose. If you need to grab props, grab them first and then settle into the pose. Don't be reaching around while you're in it. And so if you need a deeper back bend, you might use 2 pillows and you might straighten the arms. And that'll be seal pose, fingers spread wide, and you would breathe here. Otherwise, Sphinx pose is also a great option. And then I'm actually gonna set a timer. In Yin, we hold poses for between 2 minutes and 20 minutes. But we are just gonna hold this for 5. And so you may notice that the longer that we hold these poses, it becomes more challenging. At first you're thinking, oh, I could hold this for days, but then 1 minute goes by and you start to feel a little tired, and that's okay. In Yin, there is work being done with the body, and so you want to feel that work. You don't want to work too hard, but you don't want to be so comfortable in the pose that you fall asleep either. So finding that balance, that edge between working and not working in the pose. And if you ever start to feel any sort of numbness or tingling, or like maybe you feel something in your body like has the sensation of it falling asleep, then that just means the pose is over for you. It's done, and you can come out of it and just rest for that time, or you can fast forward the video and move on to the next pose. It's the beauty of practicing at home. You are in control. Many people say that yin yoga is actually more challenging than a faster paced yang practice because it's hard to find stillness, especially in our society where finding stillness can sometimes be looked upon as laziness. Whereas in yoga, we practice stillness as a way to sort of counter or balance our busy, active lifestyles and our busy, active yoga practices. And so the people who are most busy in their lives are probably the people who need yin yoga the most. And that's why it can be such a challenge. It's because we're not used to it. It's different. But there's so many benefits of just finding stillness and allowing the body to relax. The body begins to repair itself and heal. It turns off that fight or flight mode. It digests. And then we're able to reflect and assimilate all of our experiences. Alright, slowly begin to bring yourself up and out of this. And then let's just take a couple cat-cows to continue warming up the spine. Inhaling to lift the tailbone, lift the crown of the head. Exhaling to round the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And just take a few of these, moving in any way that feels good to you. I think that I feel really good to lift that mid back in that cat pose and maybe even sit back in child's for a moment. Maybe rocking back and forth or in circles with it. Just moving in any fluid, natural way. Countering that Sphinx pose. And then when you're ready, our next pose is going to be child's pose, but we're going to do it against the couch. And so it may look a little more like puppy pose or even frog pose, but we'll figure that out as we get into it. So turn to face your couch with the feet underneath the hips in hero's pose. And then just kind of lay and lean over this couch, fold over the couch, and then maybe bring the knees wide. Separate the feet a little bit. And then just allow yourself to round over this couch. You can rest the forehead down against the couch or on a pillow or blanket. And if you need more sensation, if you want more of a hip opener, you can scooch away from the couch a little bit and actually just rest the forehead down against the couch, and that'll create some more space here so you can go a little deeper into the pose. And so you may also keep the arms up on the couch cushions so that you can get a deeper stretch in the shoulders as well. And then I'm going to set my timer, and again we'll do this pose for just 5 minutes. Know that if you really like this pose and want to stay longer, all you have to do is pause the video. If you start to get into this pose and realize that it really just doesn't feel good on your knees, another option here is maybe to take butterfly pose instead. It'll still be a hip opener. And then you can just, again, fold over this couch or use a pillow underneath the arms. You may notice that as you go along, you might be able to go a bit deeper after a few minutes, so then you can decide if you want to move props out of the way at that point and allow your body to go deeper into the pose or just stay exactly where you are. You can always change. Slowly coming up out of this pose, rising up. Always taking our time in between these transitions between poses. So if you're on your knees in this child's pose version, go ahead and just bring the knees back together. We'll meet here in hero's pose, sitting on the heels of the feet, and then go ahead and tuck the toes so that you're stretching those toes, feeling a stretch in the ankles. We're sort of on the ball mounds of the feet here in this toe squat position. And then go ahead and maybe just fold over that couch again. You'll notice that you can use the couch as leverage here to either go deeper or less deep into this stretch. And we're going to hold this for 2 minutes, and I should warn you that toe squat is more intense than you might think it would be. So consider moving into it slowly for that reason. If you're someone who has to wear shoes all day, probably for a job or school, our feet can get very cramped up that way. And so this is a good way of actually stretching out the toes, stretching the ankles, stretching the feet, and strengthening the arches of the feet actually. So if you're someone who deals with painful flat feet, this is a great pose for you. Slowly untuck the toes. Go ahead and just sink one hip down to the mat. And then scooch up next to the mat so that one hip is up next, or not the mat, the couch. Scooch one hip up to the couch and bring your legs up onto the couch. And lower your back down against the ground. So this is legs up the couch pose. And we'll take a twist here. So bring your feet just up to the edge of the couch cushion and then just walk your feet over to the right side all the way down to the ground. Coming into spinal twist. Left arm comes long. The gaze is over those left fingertips. You might just keep the right hand on the right or on the left knee, or you can bring that arm long out into a T as well. Another option is to use a blanket or a pillow between the knees just to fill in any gaps. So settling in, we'll be in spinal twist for a few minutes. Breathing here and just feeling the weight of gravity. When we practice yin yoga and the body, it cools down. It gives us the truth of where we're at. When we're in a more intense, hot practice, we can get deeper into certain poses, but when we're in yin, we might not be able to get as deep as we would otherwise, and so it actually shows us the truth of our limitations on a more realistic day-to-day basis. So just keeping that in mind and letting go of any expectations. Walking the feet up towards the top of the couch and then over to the left side, bringing the feet to the bottom of the couch. Right arm is long into a T. Gaze is over those right fingertips. And then breathing here in spinal twist. Walking the feet back up to the couch. For this next pose, bringing the hips right up against the couch, we're gonna take our legs long, pressing the feet up towards the sky. And then on an exhale, letting the legs come wide. And then we'll be here for about 5 minutes. Maybe you grab one knee at a time, bring them in, bring the knees in towards the chest. You can even kind of rock side to side, maybe just walk the feet against the couch side to side. And then the last pose is going to be Shavasana. And so you might take this with the legs bent, just resting our calves against the couch. Or if you would prefer to just take the legs long against the ground, that's fine too. When you get there, completely relaxing, letting go of any remaining thoughts, any remaining tension. And allow yourself to just be here, enjoying these last few moments of quiet and calm. Beginning to really notice even the spaces between the thoughts that come up in the mind. Noticing when there are moments of stillness. Really sliding into those moments. Begin to awaken the body by wiggling the fingers and toes, moving the head side to side, rolling the wrists and ankles. Maybe you stretch the arms up and overhead as if you were waking up for the first time. You guys, it's a fresh start, a new opportunity. And then begin to make your way to a seated position in any way that makes sense to you. Sitting up nice and tall, shoulders relaxing back and down, crown of the head is lifted. Inhale, circling the arms around and up to the sky, meeting the palms together at the top, and then exhaling to bring the hands down through heart center. Anjali Mudra, a symbol of gratitude. I'm grateful that you guys have followed me in this video today. The light that shines in me bows to the same light that shines in all of you. Where those lights meet is where we find connection, and that connection is the meaning of the word yoga. Thank you all for sharing this practice with me. Namaste.